Hi everyone, I'm Nick of Light and I'm here with Omar Shahryar.
Hey.
And Omar and myself are both SGI Buddhists, a type of offshoot of Buddhism which Omar will explain. So we're doing the interview of Omar here, and basically thank you for taking part in the Nick of Light Holistic London interview, which are a set of interviews based on what people do to save the planet, if they care at all, and if they do, how do they care, and can they explain? Okay, so I've written down some questions, and basically, so what is SGI Buddhism?
SGI Buddhism, well, SGI stands for Soka Gakkai International, and Soka means value creation, and Gakkai means society. And so we're an international society of people dedicated to creating value. That can be personal value, social value, environmental value, spiritual, emotional, all kinds of different, every single kind of value you can think of, we try to create it.
Because you chant for that value, don't you? To create this value in any way that you want.
Exactly. And then I guess that's the Buddhism aspect, is that we use the practice of Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism to create that value. So you can look at it in a kind of humanistic sense, that it goes beyond just a teaching of Buddhism, but we specifically as Buddhists, we use the philosophy and the practice that Nichiren developed to make amazing value in our lives and for the lives of those around us as well.
Brilliant. Okay, so connected to this Buddhism is something called Kosen Rufu, which is to do with creating value.
So Kosen Rufu is literally to spread widely and propagate. That's what it kind of means in its literal sense. It's also got a sense of flow. So what Kosen Rufu is talking about is the flow of value creation. So it's not just that many people should create value. It's not in a kind of finite sense, like once many people do it, then you stop. Actually, it has to keep going, keep flowing, like running water. Keep spreading, exactly. All the time, and growing. So even if you could look at Kosen Rufu in an individual sense, you have to keep growing. You have to keep.
This is a positive kind of growing, because you chant for yourself and other people.
Exactly.
And so you're creating that kind of value anyway.
And
creating local and sort of world peace through the connections for Buddhism. Which is really important, because we know that war spreads so easily. And anger, like when someone starts fighting and punching, that spreads before you know it. There's a whole gang, but not many organisations use that in a positive way to say you can spread positivity through numbers. And this Buddhism is really popular. Which is amazing.
There is obviously a quantity thing, like the amount of people doing the spreading is important. But it is also a quality thing. So even in your own life, there are always corners of my life where I can apply value creation more. Say in my work. As an educator, it's very easy for people to think that, oh, I'm an educator, so that must mean I'm a good person, I contribute to other people's lives. But that's only so true to a point. If you do that, and yet you doubt, for example, a young person's potential, and don't really give your all, then that's one area, you could say, where you can spread value creation further into your own life and into your own actions in the world. So there are always little corners of your own life you can give more consideration, more effort to really encourage people and create that kind of social value or whatever. I
see what you mean. So chanting to kind of create maximum value for yourself and other people. So if you have issues with your educational environment, you can chant to solve them, chant for that person's happiness, chant that they resolve the issue and you resolve it. So to create maximum kind of value.
Maximum value.
And compassion.
Exactly. It's compassionate, but it's also compassionate in a selfless way, as in, you're doing it for others, but there is also within this a kind of guarantee that it will come back to you in a really beneficial way. So it'll spread outside, but it will also spread inside and spread back to you, and all this kind of thing.
So you could almost call that resolving karma.
Yeah, it's changing karma. So I guess that's one of the reasons why the emphasis is always on spreading, is because karma never stops. Like, there's never going to be a time where you're not going to do stuff.
Dealing with karma.
Yeah, you're always dealing with karma, the actions that you've made from the past and the actions that you're making right now. So you're always going to have to change all whatever bad stuff into better stuff. Create that value that way.
Which is moving you forward and moving the other person forward and resolving conflict.
Definitely.
So if we could do that globally in a, say, war sense, if we could just get the two sides to be prepared to spiritually resolve the underlying issues, probably historical issues, no doubt, then we could have this could not be one side walking away, but actually both sides really finding compassion and value and almost even love for each other.
Absolutely. That's, in one way, that kind of that love is quite an essential aspect of all human beings. Like, really at our core there is just love. It's just that sometimes is hard to believe, because on a superficial level there's a lot of stuff in the way. A lot of stuff. So that's why it's not easy to get to that core, and it's it's not so easy to resolve any conflict, whether it's a war or whether it's a personal grudge with a friend or a loved one or whatever.
Exactly. So this part of the interview is kind of now moving into, so thank you for answering those. It's moving more into something about how you see things personally. So that's more about Buddhism, and the reason I've done this is because I think Buddhism is more likely than any of the other organisations to actually want to resolve peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that bothers me, because these interviews are about peace and saving the planet and the health of people and the planet in a holistic way. So So what do you do to save the planet yourself in your actions in the world?
So it sounds like a massive question, and I was thinking about this. It can be quite scary, but I do think that, personally speaking, the biggest thing that I do to save the planet is to really actually consider everything that I do on a day-to-day basis as important, in that it will affect the entire world. So that sounds really grand, and it's not just me. Actually, everyone's actions affect the entire world. But I try as hard as I can to take responsibility for the way I behave in this world, so that it can create little ripples of respect or positivity. And it's really hard, I think. I mean, you'll know yourself, like, how hard it can be to get hold of me sometimes. This is I know one way in particular where little aspects of not considering others can have a really big aspect on a big impact on other people.
So in a war sense, that would be kind of massive changes. If somebody wanted to, let's create something positive now. This is a bit of a joke. So in fact, your awareness of that and kind of passing on this positivity as a Buddhist as well, you have that responsibility, which is a good responsibility. It's not a burden. It's an honour.
And it's an opportunity, because if I can resolve this thing, then there's no reason why I can't expect groups of people, countries, to resolve their thing. I can't ask a president to resolve war if I can't resolve a grudge with someone, my neighbour or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I have to take
responsibility for yourself. What about things like, just practical things like recycling, walking? These are practical things we can do to save the planet. Keeping lights off, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess in a practical sense, in terms of environmental awareness, I do as much as I can to save electricity. I do absolutely recycle. I minimise my water use as much as possible. Kind of, big loads of washing and all this kind of thing. environmentally friendly paper towels and all of this kind of thing, and I do as much as I can.
This is important.
Yeah, it is important. But I also think that I really hope that through, like I say, through my daily interactions and actions, that I can somehow inspire individuals to make even greater changes. So that, you know, my little buying recycled paper towels can seem like a drop in the ocean, but actually by kind of backing that up with a way of life where I can inspire young people to do even more than I can.
Yeah.
Not shirking responsibility, but actually spreading the flow of positive value creation. I try as much as I can to consider everything I do as contributing to this, changing the environment.
That's amazing. That is very amazing, because that then hands on to the younger generation the idea of saving the planet, of being globally aware, rather than sitting playing these games, watching films. This kind of selfish culture we've developed, where nature, the environment's nothing to do with it. So the ozone layer can just evaporate. We can get global warming as long as we've got these games to play. We're all trapped on these things. So these interviews are about noticing nature, honouring nature. We're only here for such a short time, so enjoy the sun and walk around, enjoy each other. You know, we're big pure consciousness when we're not alive. That's why I think watching those games and stuff like that, it's almost like a dream state. But we have enough of that when we're not alive. We're born to exist, aren't we? To live here now in this what appears to be a physical world. So basically, so one more question then. What is progress to you? We make this one quick.
Cool. Progress to me, I suppose, the most important form of progress will be something that a way in which you can measure, almost talk to people and ask, are they happier today than they were yesterday? I think that's a really important thing. And I don't mean happy in a kind of I'm really happy today, the sun is shining, even if it's raining. Like, fundamentally, can over time people say, yes, I am growing stronger and more able to deal with the difficulties of life in a really, again, positive way?
Well, that is progress.
That's progress for me.
Okay.
People.
Thank you so much, Omar. Thank you
Nick,
for the Nick of Light Holistic London interview and the value that you are creating in the world.
Oh, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.